All right. So we are looking at the fact that for most of us, this is how we are supposed to look like in many of our dimensions, but this is how we are. But there's the good thing is that it is possible to move from here to here
Yeah.
through intentional effort. We look at some of the, the biggest source of my content is actually from the Bible. Whatever I teach, I read, I get some principles from the Bible. Because the Bible is full of leaders and people who had to stretch. We are talking about the law of the rubber band. The law of the rubber band is about stretching. The fact that to grow, you really need to stretch and to be elastic. You look at a person like Moses. Moses was this person, also, although despite the fact that he was in the palace. That is where he was brought up. And he was the son of Pharaoh's daughter. He refused to settle for that. If you read in the book of Hebrew, where he says that he refused to settle for joy that was ending and decided to join his people, the Israelites. And he started thinking that he could become their savior by killing one. He was moving ahead of time because God had planned that actually, eventually, he would become the savior, but that was not the right time yet. And I can see we are getting dark a bit. I think I should have the light on. Just give me a minute. Let me put on the lights. My lights were off. Ama hata ndio imekuwa dark zaidi. Should I have switched it off?
Uko sawa.
All right, thank you. So we are looking at Moses as a leader, a person who had stretched. So he goes to the desert, stays there for so many years. And one time when he was very comfortable after 40 years, he was comfortable with the fact that he had now become a shepherd. God appears before him and he tries to refuse. But eventually we see that Moses accepts the task and he does a lot that eventually comes to be he becomes one of the best leaders. In the desert, it is a difficult thing to lead the very difficult people. And eventually we see there's a place in the Bible, in the book of Psalms, that says that Moses knew God's ways, but the people of Israel knew God's miracles. So he became so good to an extent that he's even praised to be one of the most humble men on earth and things like that. But that was as a result of having to move out of the comfort zone where he was as a shepherd and becoming really a leader of very stubborn people. Another good example that you can cite about people who stretched is Joseph. Every time he tried to become comfortable, things would just come and he would find himself stretching again. So thank you for those who are joining us. Karibu Frank. We are moving on. We are in the law of the rubber band. I know you have missed the most important part, but let me hope you're going to grab something as we move on. There's another man called David. David, you see, the story of David is one interesting about a person who was really focused in stretching. He goes and find a man intimidating the whole army of Israel, and he decides that he's going to attack this man. You know, it was a person who was ready to die. He had before killed a lion and a bear, and for that reason he had some confidence that he could do the same with this guy here. But even eventually, after this war, even when he became the son-in-law of the king, we see him running and hiding in the cave of Adullam as Saul is pursuing him. And even when he went into exile, he became a bodyguard to one of the Philistine kings. And he did very well until he became king. And this is a story of a man who was really elastic, a person who wanted to stretch. Look at his writings in the book of Psalms. You can tell this is a man who wanted to stretch and to know God. Every time he talks about how he hungers and he wants, he is happy to hear people telling him, let us go into the house of the Lord. So spiritually, he was ready to stretch. So he remained elastic for the whole of his life. He started writing his Psalms when he was very young, and even at old age, he was still writing his Psalms because growth is actually lifelong. If you have not understood this, I want you to understand this and remember this, that growth is not something that you do for a year, 2 years, or 3 years. It has to be lifelong. It has to be lifelong because your potential, as long as you are alive, there's always something that you're contributing and you're offering to the world, and that is why you are on earth. We look at, okay, someone can argue those are stories that are in the Bible. What about today? Who are these people who have demonstrated in a very good way the law of the rubber band, which is the law of stretching, that you need to move out of your comfort zone? A good example, I think we all know President Obama. the former United States of America president. He was the first black president because he believed that is possible. You know, it was very easy for him to believe, to do something. It was very difficult for him to do something that has never been done in a place where racism is still an issue, a big issue. He becomes a lawyer, and from the lawyer, he serves people in the community. And from there, he decides, why don't I try to become a senator? And when he becomes a senator, he does not end there. He goes ahead and takes the big shot and becomes the president of the most powerful country. This is the law of stretching. That, of course, you're not going to start. He had the potential to become the president, but he had to develop it by becoming a good communicator, becoming a good strategist, and remaining very hopeful. He has even written a book called The Audacity of Hope. That is in the US. What about here in Kenya? Let me give you an example with someone who is here and near us. For those who are in Nakuru County, our governor, Susan Kihika. Susan Kihika started as the county assembly speaker. She was the speaker for 5 years, and then she decided, I've been a speaker for 5 years. Let me try to become the senator of Nakuru County, and she became the senator. And the next thing, she did not remain there just because she had a lot of support. She went on to become the governor. So only time will tell what next can be. But I believe that is a person who has demonstrated stretching, the law of the rubber band. She's very, very elastic, and I believe she's going far. There's the late Chris Kirubi, the man who we buried last year. He was one of the richest people in Kenya. And he used to say, when someone asked him, why do you work so hard despite the fact that you're so wealthy? That I do not allow what I have to stop me from looking what I can have. Despite the fact that I have a lot of abundance, I forget about what I have and I have to go for what I don't have. And I think that is very consistent. That is Apostle Paul. Apostle Paul, despite the fact that he had accomplished so much, written to so many churches, the church of Corinth, the church of Galatia, the church of Philippia, he continued to fight, and he would say that one thing I do is this: I focus on the goal. I forget about what is behind and focus on what Christ has in store for me. You will not rest until the very end, where he writes the Philippians and says, I have fought the good fight. I have fought the good fight. Mwendo nimeumaliza. There is a Kiswahili song that you used to sing in church, in Catholic, kwa inasema mwendo nimeumaliza. Motorbike, please mute, please mute. Thank you. Thank you. So we are looking at the law of stretching, like a rubber band. A rubber band. We call it the law of the rubber band. So there are people who are still stretching. The question is, are you stretching yourself? Are you stretching and doing things that are outside your comfort zone? Because that is what the law of the rubber band is all about. And the law of the rubber band, we have seen that a rubber band is used for many diverse purposes. And in fact, a rubber band is only useful if it is stretching. And if it is not stretching, then it becomes useless. And so is our life. If we avoid stretching, then it means we have stopped growing. We are no longer useful, because the moment a rubber band loses elasticity, it loses its essence and its purpose. You don't need it anymore. There are several things that you need to know about stretching. So I'm winding up. I know I have a few other slides here, but I want to state this: that there are few facts we have about stretching. Not everybody likes stretching. You know, stretching is a bit painful. It requires you to move out of your comfort zone, and for that reason, not everybody likes to do it. You'll be surprised to know that in US, a statistics was conducted about reading. And the most shocking thing is that for people who had finished Form 4, a third of them never read any book after finishing Form 4, and that is high school. Mtu hajaisoma kitabu hata moja akamaliza kutoka alipomaliza high school. Another thing is that 42% of the graduates, wale ambao wameenda college or universities, 42% of them, they never read a book after graduating from college. And I want to know, kwa wale ambao tuko hapa, since you finished school, ulipomaliza course yako yenye ulifanya, how many books have you read? Can you please write? If you have never read a book, a whole book, just write on the chat box. I'm there to see. Ninataka kujua umesoma vitabu ngapi kutoka ulipomaliza graduate, ulipomaliza shule? Just type it in the chat box. Frank, nataka kujua umesoma vitabu ngapi? Na Clara, na Charles. Everyone, tell us. Clara ameniambia amesoma vitabu 5. I hope you are right and that is true. Umesoma vitabu 5. That is since, and Clara, I know you are almost my age mate, so that is since when? Since which year? Nani mwingine amesoma vitabu? Ni kutoka mwaka gani hii Clara umesoma vitabu 5? Very good. Naona Rosemary amesema I have lost count. Ni mingi sana. Wow, awesome, awesome. I think I love that. That is a person who's ready to stretch. That is a person who's ready to stretch. Nani mwingine? Frank, tuambie na ukue tu kweli. Kama hujaisoma just say never. I can see Charles is saying that he doesn't know the exact number, but it's more than 1. All right. Well, let me say maybe kama 2, 3, 4. All right, all right. But I know Charles, you read because your career requires you to read. If I didn't know you, ningeamini hiyo joke yako. Ati naona Frank anasema through my question eyes. One call through my question eyes. Through my question eyes. So umesoma moja kutoka umalize high school. Very interesting. Very interesting. So let me just go ahead and state that through my African. Unaona mpaka Sila Frank Peter Sila amesahau mpaka title ya hiyo jina ya hiyo kitabu yenye alisoma. Na ni moja tu. Anyway, those are the good readers. Now, I have a colleague here ambaye anaitwa, let me not mention his name, but there's this book that I've been reading. You can check out my video. This book that I've been reading. This book I bought it last year. It's written by Miles Monroe. And this book cost me 2,000 shillings. And I actually have access to it, soft copy. I have a soft copy, but I decided I'm going to invest in it. And not only that, I have many other books. If you go to my place, I have so many books that I read because I believe it is necessary to stretch. Growth requires you to read. After all, right now, like the book that you have on the screen, and it is not possible for you to be a writer and an author and you're not reading. It is impossible. And I know for those of us who have been in this career, you'll understand and agree with what I'm saying. And the question is, vitabu nyingi zingine umedownload for your own self, like you spend your money. Right? Can you remember? Unmute. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I had muted, but I'm back. So my question was, let me continue, but I know very few of us probably umeingia kwa library kununua kitabu so that you can move on. So tumesema the first people want to stretch, and for those of us who want to stretch, probably we have a revelation, we have an understanding what it can do for us. The number 2 fact about the role of the rubber band or the stretching is that setting for the status quo ultimately leads to dissatisfaction. I had done an exercise, I wish most of you are here. It was about doing an exercise that shows you whether you like to do certain things, were poor in certain, the majority was that in many things they do things on an average way. And whenever you do things in an average way, then that means you've settled for the status quo. You are doing things the way everybody would accept. So if there is something that you need to erase in your life, is the status quo. Take a rubber, erase it. You see, there's a man called Abraham Maslow. I know most of us are familiar with him because of what he called the Abraham Maslow hierarchy of needs. But this is what he says, that if you plan on being anything less than what you are capable of being, you will probably be unhappy all the days of your life. Because it means you're not exploiting your potential. You know, deep inside you, there is more that you could do, but you're not doing. I like to give this example of a person called Michelle Obama that you can see on the screen. There was a time, you see, for all sad news, there's a poet who writes that for all the sad words that the tongue or the pen can ever write is this, that it might have been. It might have been. Can you imagine at the end of your life, someone writing in your eulogy that it could have been, this person could have been. I remember the story told by Michelle Obama that when she went to college, she had a roommate who was white. And she called home and said, hey, you know what? The college has given me a black student as a roommate. She came from this, maybe the white racist community. And the mother told her, come home. You cannot be a roommate to a black woman. So that is how she went home, and Michelle had to get another roommate. Years later, Michelle became the first lady of the United States. And you see, the woman who was supposed to be her roommate when they were still in college, she lost such an important opportunity to becoming a friend to the first lady. You see, the person who was your roommate in campus obviously is a person who became your friend. So she lost that opportunity of becoming a friend to a first lady because of a very minute thing that she could have avoided. Such is the story of people who want to remain average. Another thing that you need to remember about stretching and the law of the rubber band is that any form of growth starts from inside. Any form of growth starts from inside. You cannot change your life if you're not changing your inside. Last time we looked at the law of the ladder, and the law of the ladder is the law of character. And there are two things. You can either have a very good reputation or have a very good character. There are people who are really concerned about their reputation because the reputation is what people see. But character is whom you really are. And if you have a good character, it will also show out in good reputation. So it is better to cultivate the inner character because it will also appear outside as a reputation. And the same is true about stretching. That if you can stretch outside, this is what James Allen says. James Allen is the writer of a book called As a Man Thinketh. I know most of you may be familiar with As a Man Thinketh. In his heart, so is he. That your circumstances, this is what James Allen says, that your circumstances may be unpleasant, but they shall not long remain so if you but perceive an ideal and strive to reach it. You cannot travel within and stand still without. That is, you cannot change your mindset and the way you perceive things and your outside remain the same. It is impossible. Any form of permanent change starts from inside you. And that is the beauty of the fact that you can change your circumstances. The other thing about stretching that is really key and important for us is this, that stretching will require change. There's no way that you can talk about changing circumstances. I mean, changing circumstances without stretching. One thing that you must remember is that your yesterday ended last night. So your history, your destiny is not determined by your past, what you have accomplished and what you have not accomplished. And it is important to remember that for those people who like to settle for what you have done, kwa hivyo unaona kama umesucceed sana in a certain area and therefore you settle for that, that is what leads to mediocrity. In fact, this is what Alan Cohen says, that to grow you must be willing to let your present and the future be totally unlike your past. Your history is not your destiny. Yeah. And the other thing is that monotony is an awful reward of the careful. That is what A.G. Barkham says. So I know they don't have to move really fast about this, and I'm going to share this because there is a lot. But let me move to the next thing. The fifth thing about stretching is that stretching sets you apart from others. the picture that you have there about the fact that to lead requires you to stretch, and obviously, whenever you stretch to lead others, there's something that must change about you. So this is my motto about some of the things that I usually do, that I'm not where I'm supposed to be. And I know for all of us who are here, the reason why you want to grow and to understand how you can grow is because you're not where you're supposed to be. But the good thing is also the fact that if you keep doing what you're doing right now, intentionally developing yourself, someday, sometime, you'll be where you want to be. Because you may not be what you may not be what you want to be, and you may not. But what matters the most is that if today you're not what you were yesterday, then it means even tomorrow, that is continuous growth. There's some growth, there's some element of growth, and you'll be something better than you are today. So as you continue to do this, let's keep on learning new things, let's keep on going, and eventually we will be where we have always wanted to be. As a matter of fact, nature abhors vacuum. That is, it's called, I can't remember that particular law. It's a law of nature that every time you are doing nothing, you are dying. And you start deteriorating so rapidly. So it's necessary for you to keep yourself busy, doing something, developing yourself, because constant effort gets you higher and higher, and you become better and better. And every time your character is improving, and you're becoming better in many other ways, because you saw character is the foundational value that upon which growth is purported or supported. So this is my suggestion today about the law of stretching, that you need to commit yourself to the following things. That you must stretch. It doesn't matter what you're successful in today, but remember this: the greatest enemy to tomorrow's success is today's success. Hata kama unafanya mambo vizuri leo, you must continue giving your best, because otherwise you stop stretching. And like you have seen that if you're not stretching, then you're dying, you're not growing. And this is actually what Peter Drucker is one of the most prolific writers in management. He says that no one has ever made a significant impact after they won the Nobel Peace Prize Award. Many people have won Nobel Peace Prize Award, and that forms their biggest achievement. And it need not be so. Even after winning the Nobel Peace Prize Award, you need to continue growing. And if you want your tomorrow to be better than you are today, then you need, if you're not going to be better tomorrow, you don't need tomorrow. That is a Rabbi Nabuchan, who says something like that. That if you want to be there, to be alive tomorrow, then you must do something that will make your tomorrow better than today. Otherwise, living a mediocre life, an average life, requires that you should not have an extra day anyway. Why should you continue to live and consume air and space, and you're not contributing anything to the world? That is a challenge that I also always give myself, because I believe every day is an opportunity for me to improve. Even as I teach this, I'm also learning. I'm also being impacted by this content, and I'm also in the same race like you are in. So the last thing, actually it should be point number 6, but here it's written number 7, is that the difference between what we do and what we are capable of doing would suffice to solve most of the world's problems. This is the saying that by Mahatma Gandhi, that kama kila mtu angejituma, kama kila mtu angeexploit potential yake, zile shida zote zenye tuko nazo dunia mzima tungeweza kuzimaliza. But the problem is many people are mediocre. Many people are not exploiting all their potential, and that is why the world has so many potential. I mean, the world has so many problems. We have all the solutions, but because we are not utilizing all our potential, then that is why we have so many problems. Because every problem has a solution, but many people have refused to cultivate their potential so that they can solve many of the problems that you have. Don't be one of them. So living under the law of the rubber band usher you into a world of possibility. You achieve things that you never thought would be actually possible. If you continue stretching, there's a chance that you're going to become a very significant person. I believe that what I'm doing right now, speaking, engaging people, trying to help people to utilize and to get to their potential, if I continue doing it without being discouraged, hata watu wawili wakikuja kwa hii conference, I keep on doing it without getting discouraged, knowing that it is adding value to someone. I'm stretching myself for the greater things. A time is coming when I'll be able to address 1,000 people, 2,000 people, and 5,000 people. There's potential that is in me, but I have to ensure that I'm utilizing it and ensuring that it's making sense and helping someone at the level in which I am today. I hope I'm communicating something to someone. Let me just go to chat box before we wind up. I know we'll be winding up in a few minutes. I can't see, you haven't said much, but I hope you're with me and you're grabbing something that you need to keep on stretching. I hope that I'm challenging you. I hope that I'm making you to feel bad, that sometimes there are things that you have that you can develop and make better, but you have been satisfied with average. Today is a day when you decide that you're not going to be average anymore. Today is a day when you're going to say that average is not good enough for you. Today is the day when you decide that you're going to be exceptional in a certain area that you're good at. So these are the critical questions that I would like you to answer. You may give me some answers now, or you can just answer them at your own time. And the first one is, are there areas in your life where you are not stretching? Just write. I know nimetumia more time than we need, but in just 2 minutes, let us try to answer some of these questions so that you can use them even after the lesson is over. Are there areas in your life where you feel you're not stretching? It could be spiritual, it could be emotional, it could be financially, it could be any other dimension. Are there areas? Your answers, please. And I can see for Clara, it's yes. I can see for Clara, it's yes. Thank you, Clara, for being prompt and pretty quick. Rosemary is saying yes. Yes, there are some areas. The other participants, are there some areas that you feel you're not stretching the way you ought to stretch? For me, I would say yes. As much as I try to do some things, there's always a chance saying absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So the question is, what are you going to do about those areas? We have said that growth is intentional. The second question is this: are your goals too immediate? Because there are two things. The reason why people stop stretching or get discouraged to stretch and pursue their goals is because there are two scenarios. The first one is you can set your goals too far or you can set them too near. Kuna watu wanapenda kuset goals za 1 month, goals za 2 years ama 1 year, and this is the problem. If you set goals that are too immediate, you end up losing your attention. Like for instance, you see a bladder or what you call the rubber band. The rubber band, the more you pull it, the more relevant it is. The more you're utilizing its elasticity. Ukipull tu kidogo, it is not very elastic. It is not very helpful. You have to stretch it enough. But again, if you stretch the rubber band too much, it can rupture. Inaweza vunjika. You can destroy the rubber band. So that is your life. That if your goals are too immediate, then you lose your attention. It means they are not challenging you. So you're not growing. You decide that you're going to write a page, for instance, every day. It is not challenging at all. Your goals need to be something challenging. You decide that you're going to read a book within a month. That is very, very, very doable. But if you want to read one book in a whole year, you're not utilizing your potential because you can do more than that. Again, if you decide that in 1 week you're going to read 10 books, your rubber band is going to snap because you're giving yourself a fit that is too much, and for that reason, you're likely not to achieve it. So the reason why people get discouraged is because you do not do things the right way, the way they're supposed to be. So I'm giving you a challenge. Consider your goals. Are they too immediate or are they too far-fetched, long-term? By next week, please come with answers and let it be helpful to you. So we are winding up. I thank God for all of you who are here. And I want to wind up with this, that for those of us who have not invested in something, if you're not developing, you're not growing. I'm offering these master classes. And I would like you to be some of people who are supporting also me in this book. I have not received many orders especially for people who have been participating in this order. This is my first book on personal growth. this is the details that I have there. So I would like your support on this. If you can buy a book on success roundabout, kama hujanunua kitabu for a long time, break that statistics of those people who have finished college and they have never bought a book. Kama hujainunua kitabu, let this be your first book that you buy. So you can do this by just buying this. My till number is actually free. Once you send the amount 700 using the till number that you have there, you're not going to be charged anything. And if you're in Nakuru, I'll deliver the book. If you're far away, we can organize how you're going to get the book. It is only 700. So I want to wind up with this. My dear friends, I'm your friend. Mediocrity is not something that you're going to settle with. We have to allow ourselves to stretch. We have to move out of that comfort zone. We have to give our best shot so that we can become people who are significant. Everything that we need for us to be successful is inside us. And the gift that we can give to God and to humanity is developing our potential. Be proactive about your potential, about what you have, the gift that you have. Don't rob the world what you can give because you are not proactive, because you refuse to study, you refuse to develop yourself, you refuse to exploit all the potential that is in you. May God bless you so much as you strive to do your best to become all that you are created to be. And that is my ending remark. If you have something to say, please unmute as we wind up. Thank you so much for being here until the end. I can see that you still have Rosemary in the house. We have Charles, we have Clara. So anyone who wants to say something, please just say something before we wind up.
I have something to say.
Yes, please.
Yeah, all I can say is that I've really learned a lot. I'm very I'm really grateful for this masterclass, and I think we are going somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Clara, because you are the only person who actually started with me and followed through. And I believe that you really learned a lot. I wish that everybody was here at the beginning of those challenging questions, and they would have really benefited. But all the same, anyone else who wants to say something, go ahead, please. Thank you. I can see from the chat box, Charles is writing, thank you for the lesson, Mr. Peter. I have learned so much. Asante na karibu. Rosemary, tunataka kumaliza. What would you like to say?
Hi everyone. Leo nimekuwa a bit late, but bado nimelearn something, the importance of stretching yourself. The last time here I picked something else. Now I'm so grateful that every time I attend this session, there's always something new that I'm learning. So thank you so much.
Thank you. You're most welcome. So guys, I know that you don't have the numbers. The people are not coming. I believe it's because they have not appreciated the essence of personal growth, the essence of what you are reading here. If only people knew how helpful what you are going through can be, I know many people would come. So I am not discouraged by the fact that I can only see I have 3 people who attended. I'll still be here next Thursday. We will start at 6, and I'll continue to give my best. If anyone is benefiting, no matter how little, I'll continue to give my best until people recognize the benefit of this and we continue doing it. So God bless you so much. We are winding up. Barikiwe na muwe na wiki nzuri, and may you stretch this week. May you continue to stretch. Thank you, and bye.